Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to talk about something very important. Happiness. Because the truth is, happiness is not something you find outside. It is something you protect inside. But most people are not unhappy because life is bad. They are unhappy because of their habits. Small habits, daily thoughts, negative patterns slowly destroy their peace. In this video, we are going to discover 6 enemies of happiness that are silently affecting your life. If you remove these, your mindset will change, your peace will grow, and your life will feel lighter. So watch this video till the end, because this can change the way you feel every day. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Complaining. The first enemy of happiness is complaining. Now understand this clearly. Complaining does not solve problems. It only makes them bigger. Now let's go deeper. Most people complain without realizing it. They complain about their life. They complain about their situation. They complain about things they cannot control. And slowly, this becomes a habit. Now imagine this. Every day you focus on what is wrong. What happens? Your mind becomes negative. Now even small problems feel big. Now here is something very important. What you focus on grows. If you focus on problems, you feel stressed. If you focus on solutions, you feel in control. Now imagine this. Instead of complaining, you ask, what can I change? What can I improve? What happens? You take action. Now your life starts improving. Now here is the powerful shift. Complaining keeps you stuck. Action moves you forward. Now let's go even deeper. Complaining also affects your energy. It makes you feel tired. It makes you feel helpless. It makes you feel negative. Now imagine this. You stop complaining. You accept what you cannot change. You work on what you can. What happens? You feel lighter. Now your mind becomes peaceful. Now here is something very powerful. Happiness grows in a positive mind. Now imagine this. You choose gratitude instead of complaint. What happens? Your perspective changes. Now you see good things in your life. Now here is something very important. You cannot control everything, but you can control your response. Now let me give you a powerful line to remember. Stop complaining. Because the more you focus on problems, the further you move away from happiness. So from today, don't complain about everything. Don't waste your energy on what you can't control. Focus on solutions. Take action. Stay positive. Because happiness begins when complaining ends. This is the first enemy. Complaining. Lesson 2. Negative self-talk. The second enemy of happiness is negative self-talk. Now understand this clearly. The way you talk to yourself creates the way you feel. Now let's go deeper. Most people are kind to others, but very harsh to themselves. They say, I am not good enough. I can't do this. I always fail. I am not like others. And slowly, these words become beliefs. Now imagine this. You repeat negative thoughts every day. What happens? Your confidence decreases, your energy drops, your mindset becomes weak. Now here is something very important. Your mind believes what you tell it repeatedly. Now imagine this. You keep telling yourself, I can't do it. What happens? You stop trying, because your mind already accepted failure. Now imagine the opposite. You change your self-talk. You say, I can improve. I can learn. I will try again. What happens? Your mindset becomes stronger. Now you take action. Now here is the powerful shift. Your words to yourself shape your reality. Now let's go even deeper. Negative self-talk creates fear. fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of trying. Now imagine this. You doubt yourself before starting. What happens? You don't take action. Now your life stays the same. Now imagine the opposite. You encourage yourself. You support yourself like a friend. What happens? You feel confident. Now you move forward. Now here is something very powerful. You are always listening to yourself, so make sure your words are strong. Now imagine this. Every time you fail, instead of saying, I am useless, you say, I learned something. What happens? Your perspective changes. Now failure becomes growth. Now here is something very important. No one talks to you more than you talk to yourself. So your inner voice matters the most. Now imagine this. Your inner voice is positive. It supports you. It guides you. What happens? You feel peaceful. Now your happiness increases. Now let's go even deeper. Negative self-talk also creates comparison. You feel like others are better. You feel like you are behind. And this creates stress. Now imagine this. You focus on your own journey. You accept your progress. What happens? You feel calm. Now you stop comparing. Now here is something powerful. Self-respect starts with self-talk. Now imagine this. You respect yourself. You speak kindly to yourself. What happens? Your confidence grows naturally. Now here is something very important. Happiness comes from within, and your inner voice controls that. Now let me give you a powerful line to remember. Talk to yourself like someone you care about, because your words can either build you or break you. So from today, stop criticizing yourself. Stop repeating negative thoughts. Stop doubting your worth. Start encouraging yourself. Start believing in your growth. Because when your inner voice becomes positive, your life becomes peaceful. This is the second enemy. Negative self-talk. Lesson 3. Lack of goals. The third enemy of happiness is lack of goals. Now understand this clearly. Without direction, life feels empty. Now let's go deeper. Every human needs a reason to move forward, a reason to wake up, a reason to take action, a reason to improve. And that reason is called a goal. Now imagine this. You wake up every day, but you don't know what you are working toward. What happens? You feel lost. You feel unmotivated. You feel confused. Now here is something very important. Happiness is not just about comfort. It is about progress. Now imagine this. You are moving forward, even in small steps. What happens? You feel alive. Now your life has meaning. Now here is the powerful shift. Goals give your life direction. Now let's go even deeper. Without goals, you waste time easily. You don't know what is important. You don't know what to focus on. Now imagine this. You have clear goals. You know what you want. What happens? Your focus improves. Now your time becomes valuable. Now here is something very powerful. Goals create discipline. Because when you know your destination, you start controlling your actions. Now imagine this. You have something important to achieve. What happens? You avoid distractions. You stay focused. Now your progress becomes faster. Now here is something very important. A person without goals is easily influenced. They follow others. They get distracted. They lose time. Now imagine this. You have your own path. What happens? You stay independent. Now you move with purpose. Now let's go even deeper. Goals also create hope. They give you something to look forward to. Now imagine this. You are working towards something meaningful. What happens? Even difficult days feel worth it. Now here is something powerful. Progress creates happiness. Now imagine this. Every day you move closer to your goal. What happens? You feel satisfied. Now your confidence grows. Now here's something very important. Your goals don't have to be perfect. They just need to exist. Now imagine this. You start small. You set simple goals. What happens? You begin moving forward. Now your life changes slowly. Now here is something very powerful. Direction is more important than speed. Now imagine this. You are moving slowly, but in the right direction. What happens? You reach somewhere meaningful. Now here is something very important. Happiness grows when your life has purpose. Now imagine this. You live with intention. You work towards something. What happens? Your life feels meaningful. Now let me give you a powerful line to remember. Without goals, life feels empty. But with direction, every step feels meaningful. So, from today, don't live without purpose. Don't waste your time without direction. Don't stay confused. Set goals. Start small, move forward. Because when your life has direction, your happiness has a reason to grow. This is the third enemy. Lack of goals. Lesson 4. Procrastination. The fourth enemy of happiness is procrastination. Now understand this clearly. Procrastination is not just delaying work. It is delaying your happiness. Now let's go deeper. Most people think, I will do it later. I will start tomorrow. I just need some more time. And slowly, important things get postponed. Now imagine this. You have something important to do, but instead of starting, you delay. You scroll, you watch, you distract yourself. What happens? Nothing moves forward. Now here is something very important. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Now imagine this. You delay a task again and again. What happens? It becomes bigger in your mind. Now you feel overwhelmed. Now you avoid it even more. And this cycle continues. Now here is the powerful shift. The problem is not the task. The problem is starting. Now imagine this. You take a small step. Just begin. What happens? The pressure reduces. Now you feel in control. Now let's go even deeper. Procrastination creates stress because unfinished work stays in your mind. Now imagine this. You have many incomplete tasks. What happens? Your mind feels heavy. You feel anxious. You feel restless. Now imagine the opposite. You complete your tasks. What happens? You feel relaxed. Now your mind becomes peaceful. Now here is something very powerful. Action creates clarity. Delay creates confusion. Now imagine this. You start working, even if it is not perfect. What happens? You understand better. Now you improve. Now here is something very important. Procrastination also reduces confidence. Because every time you delay, you break your promise to yourself. Now imagine this. You say you will do something, and you don't do it. What happens? You stop trusting yourself. Now your confidence becomes weak. Now imagine the opposite. You act on your words. You do what you say. What happens? You trust yourself. Now your confidence grows. Now here is something powerful. Confidence comes from action, not from thinking. Now imagine this. You stop waiting. You start doing. What happens? Your life moves forward. Now let's go even deeper. Procrastination steals opportunities because while you are waiting, someone else is acting. Now imagine this. You delay learning something. You delay starting something. What happens? You fall behind. Now you feel frustrated. Now here is something very important. Time does not wait. And success does not wait for people who delay. Now imagine this. You take action today. What happens? You gain an advantage. Now your progress begins. Now here is something very powerful. Small action today. is better than perfect action tomorrow. Now let me give you a powerful line to remember. Stop waiting. Because the longer you delay, the further you move away from happiness. So, from today, don't delay important things. Don't wait for motivation. Don't say, I will do it later. Start now, even if it is small, because action removes stress, and progress creates happiness. This is the fourth enemy, procrastination. Lesson 5, need for validation. The fifth enemy of happiness is the need for validation. Now understand this clearly. When your happiness depends on others' approval, you lose control of your life. Now let's go deeper. Most people want to be accepted. They want others to like them. They want others to approve of them. They want others to say, you are good enough. And because of this, they change themselves. They act differently. They hide their true thoughts. They try to please everyone. Now imagine this. You live your life based on others' opinions. What happens? You feel lost because you are not living your life. You are living for others. Now here is something very important. No matter what you do, not everyone will approve of you. Now imagine this. You try to please everyone. What happens? You feel tired. You feel stressed. You feel unfulfilled. Now here is the powerful shift. You don't need everyone's approval. You need your own acceptance. Now let's go even deeper. Seeking validation creates insecurity because you always look outside for confidence. Now imagine this. Someone praises you. You feel good. But someone criticizes you. What happens? You feel bad. Now your emotions are controlled by others. Now here is something very powerful. Real confidence comes from within, not from others. Now imagine this. You trust yourself. You believe in your decisions. What happens? You feel stable. Now your happiness does not depend on others. Now here is something very important. When you stop seeking validation, you start living freely. Now imagine this. You do what is right for you, not what others expect. What happens? You feel peaceful. Now your life becomes authentic. Now let's go even deeper. The need for validation also stops growth because you are afraid of judgment. Now imagine this. You want to try something new, but you think, what will people say? What happens? You stop. Now you miss opportunities. Now imagine the opposite. You don't care about judgment. You focus on your growth. What happens? You take action. Now your life improves. Now here is something powerful. People's opinions change, but your life is yours. Now imagine this. You live based on your values. What happens? You feel strong. Now your happiness becomes stable. Now here is something very important. Approval is temporary, but self-respect is permanent. Now imagine this. You respect yourself. You accept yourself. What happens? You don't need external validation. Now here is something very powerful. The moment you stop seeking approval, you become powerful. Because now, no one can control your emotions. Now let me give you a powerful line to remember. Stop seeking validation. Because your worth is not decided by others, it is decided by you. So from today, don't try to please everyone. Don't depend on others' opinions. Don't lose yourself for approval. Trust yourself. Accept yourself. Be yourself. Because true happiness comes when you stop looking outside and start believing inside. This is the fifth enemy, the need for validation. Lesson 6. Comparing yourself to others. The sixth and final enemy of happiness is comparing yourself to others. Now understand this clearly. Comparison steals your happiness. Not because others are better, but because you stop valuing yourself. Now, let's go deeper. Most people compare their life with others. They see someone more successful. They see someone more confident. They see someone living a better life. And they think, I am behind. I am not enough. My life is not good. And slowly, their happiness disappears. Now imagine this. You look at others every day and compare your life. What happens? You feel jealous. You feel insecure. You feel dissatisfied. Now here is something very important. Comparison creates discontent because you focus on what you don't have instead of what you do have. Now imagine the opposite. You focus on your own journey. You look at your own progress. What happens? You feel peaceful. Now your happiness grows. Now here is the powerful shift. Don't compare your life. Build your life. Now let's go even deeper. Everyone has a different journey, different timing, different struggles, different opportunities. Now imagine this. You compare your beginning with someone else's success. What happens? You feel discouraged. Now you lose motivation. Now imagine the opposite. You respect your own journey. You understand your pace. What happens? You feel calm. Now you stay focused. Now here is something very powerful. You don't see the full story of others. You only see the highlights. Now imagine this. You compare your real life with someone else's best moments. What happens? You feel inferior. Now here is something very important. Your life is unique. Your path is different. And that is your strength. Now imagine this. You stop comparing. You start improving. What happens? Your confidence increases. Now your life moves forward. Now let's go even deeper. Comparison also creates jealousy. And jealousy destroys peace. Now imagine this. You feel jealous of others. What happens? Your energy becomes negative. Now you don't focus on your growth. Now imagine the opposite. You feel inspired. You learn from others. What happens? Your mindset becomes positive. Now you grow. Now here is something powerful. Focus on progress, not comparison. Now imagine this. Every day you improve a little. What happens? You become better than before. Now that is real success. Now here is something very important. Happiness comes from within, not from comparing outside. Now imagine this. You accept yourself. You value your journey. What happens? You feel content. Now your life feels meaningful. Now here is something very powerful. The moment you stop comparing, you start living. Now let me give you a powerful line to remember. Comparison steals your joy, but self-growth creates it. So from today, don't compare your life with others. Don't measure your worth by others' success. Don't lose your peace for comparison. Focus on yourself. Grow daily. Move forward. Because your life is not a competition. It is a journey. And when you walk your own path, happiness follows you. This is the final enemy. Comparison. Now understand this clearly. Happiness is not something you find. It is something you protect. And most of the time, it is not life that steals your happiness. It is your habits. Small negative habits, daily thoughts, uncontrolled patterns, slowly take away your peace. But the good news is, you can change them. You can stop complaining. You can change your self-talk. You can set goals. You can take action. You can stop seeking approval. You can stop comparing. And the moment you do that, your life starts to feel lighter. So from today, don't wait for happiness to come. Create it. Protect it. Build it every day. If you learned something valuable from this video, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell, because we bring you powerful lessons that can transform your mindset and your life. And always remember, happiness is not outside. It begins inside you. I will see you in the next video.